Hey, welcome to the Wednesday afternoon multifamily investing Zoom call, normally led by Annabelle Pacheco. But Annabelle, because of the success she's had in multifamily investing, gets to take vacation. And I'm her substitute teacher for today. I'm Bill Gross. I'm her colleague. I'm the person that brought her to eXp Realty. We've worked together over the past 10 years. I'm also the person that encouraged her to launch this Zoom call. And because I really believe in the effective networking, the power of working together as investors and agents and wholesalers, and that's why I've created a couple of my own calls and then helped Annabelle build this one. So welcome to our call. It's meant to be interactive. I think I would say that if you have any questions you want to put in the chat box, great. If you just want to jump in and unmute yourself, I'm fine with that. I'm pretty good at handling those kind of situations. Our goal here is to work together. We're not selling anything. We're not selling you a coaching program. We're not selling you to come to seminars. We're not selling you data or service. We're brokers. Annabelle is a real estate broker. I am as well. And we're here to help you learn to increase your income and to build wealth by investing successfully in real estate and particularly in multifamily investments. So I'd like to start with a couple of basic principles that I've brought to my business and will share with you. And I'm curious if anybody has any differing opinion than these principles. Getting a little feedback. I'm not sure where that's coming from. Number one, there's never been a better time to invest in real estate than right now. I've been in real estate since 1986. I've been in mortgages and real estate. I've been a salesperson, manager, owner, sole proprietor, shareholder in small, medium, and large companies. So I've seen the business from a lot of different angles. There has never been a better opportunity than right now. And I would say there's two reasons why. One, there's never been more money available. I saw a great interview on YouTube by Byron Allen on the Breakfast Club. I can't say that I'm a regular Breakfast Club watcher, though I might get more regular. And I'll put the link here in the chat box. It was amazing. I watched his career. And he tells the story. He started as poor gets. And I think literally his first money, his mother was a young teenager, and he was collecting shopping carts at the Ralph's on 3rd in La Brea. And he ended up becoming writing for comedians like at 14, getting paid per joke. I mean, he started with nothing. And today he's worth, I think, $400 million, owns the Weather Channel and some other networks. He talks about how he did that knowing there's more money available to invest than ever before. And we hear about people who are wealthy, but you need to know that, and the thing he pointed out to me, which is clear, is that people with a lot of money want to do something with it. They don't want to just put it in a bank and let it sit there, or buy gold and let it sit there. They do some of that. But they really want to invest and get a return for their money. So there's more people with money with return than ever before. So if you're on this call and you don't have money to invest in real estate, or you don't have enough to buy multifamily on your own, don't let that be a problem. There is more money than ever to help you accomplish your goals. And I've experienced that as well in my business. Second, I would say under that premise that this is a great time, best time of my lifetime to invest, is there's never been more opportunity. Opportunity are people who have problems that don't know how to solve them. And because of all the changes we've had, the more change, the more disruption there is. Now, it might look like there's less inventory and less listings. I think that's a fallacy. I'll give you one of the proofs. I heard this from Grant Cardone, that when people say there's less inventory, but the number of sales has been at record levels. So how can you think about it, how can you have at Ralph's or at Nordstrom's no inventory and a lot of sales? What would that look like? Well, it would look like they're selling stuff off the shelves, or they are selling stuff that doesn't come to the store. They're selling maybe online, right? So real estate, to some degree, that's been happening for us too. There have been more and more homes selling that never get listed into the inventory, but are being bought directly by buyers, whether that be through brokers or on their own or as wholesalers or investors. I can attest to that. I've done more business this year of offline business than I've ever done. I didn't even know the rules and as a listing agent, you put it in the MLS after you've closed. I didn't really know you know how to do that. I never did it till this year. And I've sold 3 off-market properties this year as a listing agent. So there's more business, more opportunity, and that will continue. Why do I say that? Well, we have this moratorium on evictions. Is that going to continue or is it going to go away? Nobody knows. And that uncertainty creates an opportunity for people who can work through the uncertainty. The mortgage foreclosure process is coming, the moratorium is coming to an end. But what will it look like going forward? Because now homeowners can bid on the property after they've lost it at trustee sale. And if you think that through, I'd be glad to talk about that in detail, but just in general, as an investor, you're less likely to buy a property when you know that the homeowner can come back and rebid over you by $1, or a third party can as well. So we don't know what that's going to do to the market, and uncertainty creates opportunity. We mistakenly think that problems are to be avoided, but in real estate, we get paid to solve other people's problems. Anybody who's been successful in this business has made money by finding people who have a problem and solving it. Problems like I have a property and it's empty, and they'll buy it and they'll fix it up and they'll rent it out. I have a problem that the property can't be fixed up. They knock it down and build a new one. I have a problem the property isn't worth enough to rent out. They buy it, add more units on it, add a second floor, and sell it. Annabelle bought a property in Texas the guy couldn't sell, and she bought it cheap, but she added more units, fixed it up, and added more income, and made over $1 million on her first multifamily property. So there's more opportunity than ever in this industry. Now, true or false? You guys are on the call. Is that your experience? Do you see that opportunity, or am I just making it up, or am I just smoking my own pot? What's going on with this? Connor, what do you see? Your investment business.
That I am. I'm on a little bit on the other side of you guys.
Right.
We work in the liquid markets, capital markets, but it's always good to hear different perspectives and different ideas on ways to maximize capital, and real estate, especially in Southern California, is a place that a lot of people are doing that. So.
But isn't it also true in capital markets? There's more money sloshing around looking for a home than ever before.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, ever since March of last year, the markets have been up and up. S&P set 7 records in 7 days a couple weeks ago. So, it's a good time to be in it, but there's obviously some concerns that are starting to bubble up, and people are starting to talk about different things, whether it be inflation, interest rates.
Concern. Let's hold on for concern. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But for right now, today,
yeah,
isn't there more cash available to invest than ever held before? Like cash on
yeah.
Right, there's more cash on the sidelines.
Sideline money.
Right.
Correct.
So that's the opportunity. Now, you're right. There's concerns and all that is other stuff. But in terms of what's true today, more money than ever. So much money that they've created new products to invest money in to find a way to make money. Cryptocurrency, SPACs. They didn't exist 10 years ago, right?
Invisible sculptures for $18,000.
How about that? NFTs. People creating ways to invest money and making fortunes while they're doing it.
Yeah.
Never happened before like this. So again, now there are concerns. Okay, Connor's right. Worries about inflation, worries about war, worries about the government, worries about whatever. Those are worries. That's why people aren't all investing in. If you can find your way to mitigate those risks, but here's what remains. There's more cash and more opportunities than ever before. I've met people who make a career in cryptocurrency. That didn't even exist 5 years ago. Those careers. NFTs didn't exist 5 years ago. So more opportunity, number one. Number two, I would say in terms of principles, one of the keys to success in any business, particularly in investing, particularly in real estate, is controlling your emotions. Because there are plenty of facts on both sides of the issue. And I don't mean to argue with you, Connor, as far as whether you're right or wrong about inflation risk or this or that. All I'm saying is, as you evaluate in a particular investment, you want to evaluate your concerns and risks of those. But there are too many people who sit at home saying, oh my gosh, I'm worried about inflation. I'm not going to do anything. Okay, well, that's an option, but that's not an option that's going to lead you to success and building wealth and building income. More importantly, what do I have to do despite those concerns? What can I do to take advantage of those concerns and make them work for me instead of against me are the questions we have to ask ourselves. But if you ask the question and find that answer, that's how you make money, right? Third, I would say that in multifamily investing, and I'll say I've watched Annabelle, I've watched other clients over and over again. 90%, like everything else in business, is your attitude. 90% is your attitude. Watch that interview with Byron Allen. It was amazing. I have to say, I was never a big Byron Allen fan. I remember he had that TV show about real people, and I found it a little cheesy and find his style a little, I don't know, not my style. Obviously successful. What the hell do I know? But I just didn't really get it. But watch that interview. Um, he didn't have any education, and the guy interviewing him, Charmin DeGod, fascinating interviewer, and you watch how he listens. Watch his face on that interview. But basically, Byron Allen just said, there is plenty of money, and I had this opportunity. I put the two together and got paid. I mean, really, anybody who knew those people could put that deal together. But definitely worth watching for all of us. But here's the thing. He had an attitude. It doesn't matter what I have to do. What do I have to do to make money? He got paid, I think he said something like 10 cents per shopping cart to return them to the machine. So he had to do 10 to get a buck. Well, before that, he did a paper route. I think he said he got paid a penny per 2 papers that he threw. Right? He just had life down to, this is the input and this is my reward, and I'm going to make that work somehow. He has the emotion. And again, I don't agree with everything he says in that interview, but man, that guy has an attitude of, the world is my oyster. The world was created for me to be for all of us to be wealthy. That's why he says that in so many words. And all we got to do is figure out the game and learn how to play it properly. And we all have that opportunity. It was really an amazing interview. Okay, so that's number 2 is you need to control your emotions. Because in 90% of this is your attitude. Because if your attitude is, there's no way to make money, the system's fixed, and there's some of that. There are things that are fixed against different people. But come on, there are people who come to this country with nothing and make fortunes. In fact, most people who make fortunes, it's amazing. The wealthiest people, it's amazing how many came from nothing. But they came with a work ethic and worked hard, controlled their emotions, and their attitude was they were going to do what they had to do to be successful. The 4th thing I would say to you is invest in real estate right now. Anybody here buy in the past 1 or more multifamily properties? Do we have anybody who's actually bought in the past? Well, first time looking to buy one. Mehdi, have you bought multiple multifamily properties in the past, or are you looking to buy your first one?
Yes, hi. I'm looking into buying my first one.
Got it.
I own a single family now and been looking for a minimum 4 unit in LA area. Kind of challenging to get the loan, but been looking at 2 or 3 units also.
So for we don't have anybody on the call to verify who does this. As a broker, I've sold several. But here's what I'll say is right now, it's true it's harder to find a property. But it's also true that as much as it's harder to find the property, it's more valuable. And what I'd say is this, it's kind of like a mine. If you know about the mining business, the yield per ton, the amount of good stuff you get per ton in a diamond mine is less than a silver mine. You get more out of a ton, out of 2,000 pounds. If you're mining silver, you might get 10 ounces, 20 ounces, 50 ounces. In diamonds, you might get not even 1 ounce. But which one's worth more? Right? The diamond mine. So they have to work harder to find diamonds, but because they're worth more, it's a viable business. The same is true, I think, in real estate. Because of the change in the economy, properties that provide cash flow are more valuable than ever. I'll never forget in 2000, when was it, 9 or 10, when cap rates in West LA and Beverly Hills came below 10%. So cap rates used to be like 12, 13, 14, 11, and they were 10%. And then I remember when cap rates on properties being listed at 9%. And investors, I was in this meeting, we were just whining and complaining, oh my God, who would ever buy a property at a 9% cap rate? And all the guys who were geniuses and weren't doing anything went on and on and on about how terrible it would ever be to own a property with a cap rate below 10. Let me ask you this. Who here would like to buy a multifamily in Beverly Hills or West LA today at 9%? Anybody?
I'll take it for 4.
Yeah. See, because the market rate's probably got 3. You take it at 4. And it's probably because it's gone up in value 3 times as much. And that's the point of the real estate is it might be the cap rate's low, but if over time the property appreciates and if over time the rents can appreciate, well, then you have a great investment. And so what I would say to you as an investor is understand that if you're in a business, you just have to do what you have to do to make your rate of return. If you're an investor, where do you make your money? Do you make your money picking the property management company? No, you have to do that, but that's really overhead. Do you make your money writing out the checks? No. You might have to write checks out or you have to pay somebody to do it, but that's not where you make your profit. Where do you make your profit as an investor?
Doing research, finding more deals, and executing on those.
Right, finding the deal. The research is the time you spend to find the deal, but if you find more deals, you make more money. True or false?
Absolutely correct.
That's it. So you really make your money finding deals. And so as an investor, the more of your time you spend looking for deals, meaning you're looking for more deals, you'll find more deals, that's where your profit is today. And yes, you have to look at more deals. I saw a YouTube real estate investor influencer that I used to follow, still follow, but he said he was getting out of real estate investing. Why? Because he said he used to look at 100 deals. Now, this is a guy who's doing fix and flip residential in the South. And he said he used to look at 100 deals to find one. That's a pretty standard number. When I ask investors and ask them to break down their numbers, I almost always get that number. I look at 100 deals, I maybe run the numbers on 15, I go see 3 to 5, and I buy one. That's kind of a standard ratio that I get from investors. But today, investors will tell me that they need to look at 150 deals to find one. Right? That's 50% more work on the finding side. So I think as an investor, you have to find a way to make that time either, make more time looking for deals or delegate other work so you spend more of your time looking for deals. But you're going to have to spend 50% more time looking for deals than you have in the past. But I think the deals you have kind of a built-in profit because the market can only go up so fast based on appraisals and based on just the emotion. When people buy property, they compare the past sales and they're only willing to pay so much more than the last sale. And so we know historically that the prices go up behind the actual value increase. So if you're buying a multifamily today for $4 million, it probably is worth 4.2, 4.5. But the market can't get that number. You can't be financed. And buyers are still hesitant because they're looking at comps at 3.8 saying, well, why do I pay 4.5? I'll pay 4. And the one who does that gets the deal, just to use some round numbers. So I would say to you that today finding deals is harder than ever, but the deals you find, deals that are good, are worth more than ever. You never bought property with built-in equity like you can now. You may not know it, you may not see it, but if you really think through the economics of the deal, that's why people are making so much money right now. That's why people buy a property 6 months ago have made already great returns on the property. The last point I want to talk about investment property that I see going on is what I would say is the challenge is the opportunity. So just like the challenge of finding deals is harder is the opportunity, the ones you find are worth more, the same is true with tenants. Tenant situations are more problematic today. And I don't want to get into the politics of it, but let's just say all that stuff that go with tenants, right? It's almost like we're training tenants that they don't have to pay rent, or the government's trying to train them to do that, it seems like. But if you have a building with tenants who are paying, they're worth more than ever. I saw a great presentation by Anthony Walker. Anthony is with Brooke, what's the name of the company? He's based in, I think, Long Beach area, South Bay area. Phenomenal broker, longtime broker in multifamily, really knows the market. Did a talk with a RIA down in South LA. And what he explained on the call was that when COVID hit, they got very focused on their tenant experience, communicating with tenants, offering them how to get money if they needed money, if there's relief for them, assisting them with the paperwork. But they also tightened up their screening. So they look harder to get a bigger pool of tenants, even though the market was harder. They worked harder to get good tenants. But he said as a result, their payment rate or vacancy rate or percentage on time rate, however you want to call it, he said it's better than ever because he put more time on the task and created more systems on it. As a result, his buildings have gone up in value tremendously. And they're buying properties that are not as managed as well as theirs. And by adding in their management principles, raising the income of the property, making the property more valuable. So the challenge, and there are plenty of investors who say, and I'm one of them, I would never buy property with tenants in it. I just don't want to be bothered with it. Emotionally, it would kill me to have a property and have a bunch of tenants get together and say, we're not going to pay you. I couldn't handle it. That's just me. You have to know where you can compete and where you can work. But these guys have worked out a system and have made that their competitive advantage. And as a result, are making millions of dollars in equity on properties they're buying. So that's the challenge equals the opportunity. And if you look at that and say, well, what can I do to make that work for me? I think you'll find there's tremendous opportunity. Okay, those are my 5 principles. Never been a better time to invest than right now. There's more money and opportunity. Second, you need to control your emotions. Third, 9% of this is your attitude. Fourth, the harder to get something is, the more valuable it is. So you're just transferring your time from when you have something to when you have the value that you want from it. And the fifth being that the challenge is the opportunity, particularly with tenants. The tenants create an opportunity for you as an investor, once in a lifetime opportunity. If you can manage your way through that task of getting tenants who are going to pay you, then you're going to have a great investment and make a lot of money. So, okay, I covered my 5 points. Questions, comments? Bill, I have to jump off. Thanks. Great having you on the call, Connor. Thank you. Paul Krause, nice to see you.
Hey, Bill, how are you?
Fantastic. Been a while.
Yeah, just got back into town.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Was it a kid's baseball thing, or what took you out of town?
I had business. Yeah, I had business and baseball for a week out in Phoenix area. So
I know for you, it's probably some family baseball involved at that stage of your life.
we got to also see some professional baseball, some amazing seats to see the Diamondbacks play the Giants.
I think it's the D backs you're supposed to call them if you're in the know. Yeah.
Exactly.
Very good.
It was great.
Very nice. You get a beer or two while you're watching the baseball game?
I don't drink, so.
Wow. See, I really don't drink much, but I'll drink a beer at a baseball game if it's warm outside.
Yeah. No, it was because the D-back stadium's air conditioned, Bill.
Oh.
So it's actually a very pleasant experience. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It was we went during when the 4th of July, so they opened up the ceiling, and they had a fireworks show immediately after.
How nice. Wow.
Yeah. It was amazing.
I was here in the city of LA. We basically pretended we were downtown Kabul, Afghanistan, and it was kind of like it sounded like a war going on here all night long. It was really something.
Wow.
Okay, so I had a chance just now to kind of go through kind of 5 principles that I see that are your opportunity as an investor. Any questions or comments on what I talked about, or anybody have a deal they want to present or problem that they want some help with?
Bill, can I present a scenario? Going back to the conversation with investing in multi-units.
Yeah.
Say I have an off-market deal, which is a single-family home. I'm also a builder, and would in my scenario, would you pull the trigger on this single-family home, and since it's a good deal, it's off market, and work on that, or would you just take your time and wait for an opportunity for a multi-unit and get your feet wet in that area, which is basically what my goal is, to get into multi-units? Or would you just go with the single-family home since it's right there and up for grabs?
I think in any business you have to think about what you're good at and do more of that. And sometimes things that you're not good at can be a distraction for you, right? So I can't really answer the question, for example, your finances, and I don't really know what you do. but I know what I do and I know what I don't do. For example, as an investor, I'm a listing agent. I focus on probate. And so I'll buy a property that I would call a lipstick flip. If I can find something that all it needs to be done is trashed out and then a maid service cleanup and put on the market, I'll buy that myself, right? I am not a remodeler. If I have a remodeling job, I'm going to call Paul. Paul's a contractor. He's also an agent. We're also colleagues. Maybe we'll work a deal together. But I just really don't want to go. I don't want to walk around. I don't want to figure out what the cabinets should cost and the flooring and the paint and all that stuff just would keep me up at night managing all that. And yet Paul does it. And to him, that's like me talking about probate. He loves it. So I think you have to find the area that you excel at and you want to do as much of that as you possibly can and try to stay away from something that you're not going to make money at. So for example, I don't take buyers out to show property. I'm not good at it. I don't like it. Don't make much money per hour doing it. So I'll refer them to somebody else. But I'm a killer negotiator and I'm great with probate real estate. And so if it's in that area, I'll jump on it like a tiger. So I think you have to think about how much of a distraction it is for you and also how much money you're going to make on it, whether you're going to do it or not. So I think those are questions those are the principles to answer the question, but I don't think I know enough about you to answer the question for you.
Thank you for that feedback.
Sure. Anybody else want to answer that question? Who here is an investor of one type of product? Would you do another type? Are you just a SFR fix and flipper? Or are you just a multifamily?
I'll jump in real quick, and I'll even say that.
Oh, you're perfect to answer this one. Actually, go ahead.
I was offered an opportunity to go for a 3-flat, and it was a fire damaged property, and it looked like a deal from the outside, but the truth of the matter was, and just this is only from my experience, but if I work on a deal which doesn't have enough units, to me it's not even worth doing because I find the same number of problems, I find the same number of challenges with small properties as I do with large properties. And I would rather focus, honestly, when it comes to multifamily, on more units than doing less units. And even when I walked away from the deal, it was like, I think like a $500,000 deal. It was in the city of Chicago, fire damage, and they wanted 500. And I came back to my partner and I said, no way. I said, I'll only buy it for 4. And when we got out of that deal, they were saying, oh, there's all these backups. I said, fine, then let the backup close the deal. I'm okay with that. And then they didn't close the deal with anybody. And it's still on the market. And I'm just saying, so, you also pick, like the numbers tell you what you want to be involved in, even if it's a product type you love, So I'm not afraid to cross product types. I'll take an industrial building that's completely empty, and I could turn it into something that's a multifamily as long as I can get the city to work with me and all that. That's fine. But you also develop a comfort level of what size projects and what size deals you want to work on, because the things, what I mean? The challenges that are going to come with the size deals you're already doing. So that's just my 2 cents.
That was good. Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a good general rule and principle in business is really you want to do a lot of what you can do really well, and you want to try to not do something that's occasionally. And I'll tell you this, I started the business in mortgages for the first 15 years of my career, and I moved into real estate kind of part-time. I was doing mortgages, and occasionally I had buyers who wanted to buy, and I was licensed, and I would make some commission dollars. And like a lot of people, I thought, oh, I'm going to do both. And what I realized was that I could do both kind of maybe slightly above average, but slightly above average real estate agents don't make much money, and neither do slightly above average mortgage people. But I could be great at either one. I couldn't be great at both. And I don't know anybody who's great at both. I know a lot of people who make a little money doing real estate, a little money doing mortgage, and a little money doing some notary, and a little money doing some insurance stuff, and a little this, a little that. And all combined, they don't make half of what I make in real estate. And I think that the rewards in our business and in our industry go to experts who create real value for their clients. It's very hard to do it in multiple things. So I would say to in general, try to find what you're really good at and just focus in on that. That's not to say I don't opportunistically make money on the side. I've been hired as an expert witness. I do some consulting in the mortgage industry field, but my hourly rate's really high in those fields. As long as I can make a lot of money and limit my risks, then I'm willing to do it. Okay. Any other questions or comments or problems we can work on today? Or
Bill?
scenarios? Yes, Wesley. Wesley Harris.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'd like to comment where exactly where is the property and what's your thinking on making money with the property? That's what I'd like to know first.
Okay, Mehdi. Are you
Yes,
open?
the property happens to be on my street where I live, and I heard about this deal from my neighbor. So that was one good point about it. And it's in city of Torrance in Los Angeles. And purchase value would be 600. Cap rate is barely break even. But there's potential to build and add square footage and, that forced appreciation and future equity.
Wait, is this a 90501?
Yes,
Yeah.
Harbor Gateway.
Yeah.
The reason.
And by the way, that's like an average deal if it's a tiny little house, because if you've done room extensions or ADUs in Torrance, then you're gonna know that paying 600, which is like considered lot value for a really tiny little house, that's almost, that's kind of like, well, that's what it's gonna go for. And there might even be some people who bid it up from your 600 to 700 if they were to go to market. So if you get it for 6, okay, fine, you're not competing, but to turn it into something that it's going to pencil out in terms of cash flow back to you, like in other words, break even back to you by building out, then there's a lot of time that you have to build into your formula so that you can make a profit, Mehdi, from the plans that you have to submit. So plan check, building permits, getting the building department to okay your approvals, and then that's assuming you have 0 corrections that have to then go back to whoever's doing your plans. So yeah, I mean, that's a zip code I'm familiar with. So yeah, it's a deal, but it's not a killer deal.
You want a killer deal if you're going to take over and manage, and the rent home, you're going to have to manage like crazy. Even though it's next door to you or whatever, you're going to get a call every month if you're purchasing it to rent.
Mehdi, are you an agent as well or just an investor?
I'm also an agent. Yes, I'm an electrical contractor. That's how I make my money every day, and I invest on the side. I don't have any experience in multi-units, so that's an area I'm unfamiliar with. But that's where I'm kind of heading towards. So building my system as I go to manage multi-units, and that made a lot of sense. It's what the gentleman said before is it's going to take time, because I actually did that a project similar to that, an ADU in that same area on that same street, and it took me a 1.5 years to complete. So it is very time consuming, and then when it comes to appraisal, there's a lot of unknowns about it. So
Okay, so
yeah,
Mehdi, think about this for a second. I built an entire house from scratch, you did Hermosa Beach, in the same amount of time that you did your project. And my house that I built was 4,000 square feet. So understand the amount of time that you're talking about is a huge amount of time. You could be building a 4,000 square foot house in the same amount of time.
wow.
I'm just saying. So it's all dependent upon how you want to invest and spend your time. But honestly, in the same amount of time, and actually, if you add 3 more months, you could have built no differently in City of Redondo Beach, 2 on 1 lot, right on Vale. No, I'm sorry, it's not Vale, it's Ruland, right on Ruland in Redondo Beach. You could have done 2 on 1 lot in a year and 9 months. So, and each of those, by the way, were just under 3,000 square foot. So almost building basically 6,000 square feet of livable space. So I'm just saying, like, think about your time in terms of how much energy do you want to put into something that's going to take a year and a half?
Right.
Because I know what you can build in a year and a half.
Absolutely. It was just the funding is obviously another challenge. I don't want to look at problems only. There's always solutions, but the equity I have at the residence I own and how much money I can pull out and what I can afford, and then the funding for the construction loan for something like that size in Redondo is probably outside my financial means at the moment, at least. But you make total sense, and I understand and I agree.
Yeah, and there's no right or wrong. It's just whatever you're comfortable with in terms of how you're going to spend your time. Because I know that doing houses after houses after houses that I've done over the years, I didn't do any multifamily at all. And then when I bought one, I ended up buying 3 within 4 months. And within 6 months, I was able to have our group go through and do 9 units in 6 months, and it's going to take 1 more month to finish the other 5. So I'll have completed 14 units in 7 months, and even if I give myself a 1 month gap for mistakes or things that might come up, that's 8 months. So I'm just saying, like, that's where multifamily investing starts to take your time, energy, and effort and start leveraging. So it's just a matter of how comfortable you are with leveraging. That's it. There's no right or wrong.
That's so good.
Excellent. Okay. Any other questions, comments, scenarios, problems, complaints? Just kidding. No? No? Okay. Well, not hearing any. So thanks for being on today. Your regular hostess Annabelle is traveling as a result of her great multifamily investments. She's able to take some time off, and I've helped her create this call to share and to work together. So love to help you guys if you're looking for property, if you have property to sell. Obviously, Annabelle's an agent. She can help you list property. We're part of a team that's nationwide, and we're building out internationally. So if you have questions about property around the United States, feel free to reach out to Annabelle or me, and we'd be glad to help you take care of it. I'm Bill Gross, and I appreciate you guys being on the call today. You'll get a follow-up link here with a link to the recording, as well as invitation to next week. I also host a call tomorrow, Thursday, 4 p.m., probateweekly.com. I focus on probate real estate. Occasionally there's multifamilies that come up there, and if you're interested in looking at those and bidding on those, I'd love to talk to you about it. That's probateweekly.com. And my name is Bill Gross. I'm a broker with eXp Realty. I want to thank you all for helping today. Paul, thank you for your insight and support as always. Mr. Holmes, thank you for coming and bringing Dr. Arthur Holmes with us today. The rest of you who supported, Wesley, thank you as always. Great to see you and hear from you. And have a great week, everybody.
Thanks for the call, Bill.